Welcome to Storied Audio. The storm rolled in fast that evening, thick clouds swallowing the last bit of daylight, thunder shaking the ground like something alive. Mark had just finished washing the dinner dishes when he heard a metallic clatter from the garage. At first he thought the wind had knocked something over. But then he heard it again, soft, hesitant, like someone trying not to be heard. He grabbed a flashlight and stepped into the rain-soaked darkness of the garage. That's when he saw them. A woman stood near the back wall, soaked through, her hair plastered to her face. She held a little girl close, shielding her with her own body. The girl peeked out with wide, curious eyes. "I'm sorry," the woman said immediately, voice trembling. "We just needed somewhere dry. The shelter in town is full tonight. We'll leave if you want." Mark lowered the flashlight, softening his voice. "You don't have to leave. Come inside. Both of you." The little girl, Katy, smiled at him instantly like she already trusted him. But her mother, Kyla, didn't move at first. Her shoulders were tight, her eyes wary, like she expected kindness to turn into danger. Still, she finally nodded and followed him inside. Mark made them hot soup, letting the warmth fill the kitchen. Katy talked non-stop. About the rain, about how she liked the color of Mark's dog's collar, about how she wished storms were quieter. Kyla barely said a word. She kept her hands wrapped around the warm mug like she was afraid it might disappear. Every time Mark moved too quickly, she flinched. Every time he asked a gentle question, she answered with the shortest words possible. He didn't push. When he learned they were staying at the town shelter, something in him tightened. He looked around his big, quiet house. Too many empty rooms, too much silence. "I actually could use some help around here," he said carefully. "A housekeeper. Someone to keep things running. You and Katy could stay here if you wanted. Just until you get back on your feet." Kyla's eyes narrowed with suspicion. Offers always came with strings. She'd learned that the hard way. But Katy looked up at her with hopeful eyes. And Mark didn't pressure her. He simply said, "Think about it." After a long moment she nodded. "I'll try," she whispered. Katy bonded with Mark instantly. She followed him around the house, asking questions, helping him feed the chickens, laughing at his terrible jokes. She drew him pictures and taped them to the fridge. Kyla kept her distance. She cleaned, she cooked, she stayed polite. But she never relaxed. She insisted on doing more work than he asked for. She refused to let him buy anything extra for her or Katy. She apologized constantly, even when she hadn't done anything wrong. Mark noticed the way she froze whenever someone knocked on the door. The way she tensed when he raised his voice to call across the house. The way she slept lightly, waking at the smallest sound. He didn't ask why. He just made sure she always had space. He left the last cup of coffee for her every morning because he noticed she liked it. He fixed the leaky faucet she'd been too embarrassed to mention. He taught Katy how to plant tomatoes in the garden. He made sure Kyla always knew she could say no to anything. Slowly, so slowly it was almost invisible, her shoulders began to loosen. She started sitting at the table with him instead of standing nearby. She laughed once, quietly, like she wasn't sure she was allowed to. She let him teach her how to use the old record player in the living room. Trust wasn't easy for her. But Mark never rushed her. One evening, while cleaning the hall closet, Kyla found an old envelope tucked behind a stack of blankets. It wasn't hers, but the handwriting on it looked painfully familiar. Her ex. The man who had broken her trust, her safety, her life. Her breath caught. Her hands shook. It wasn't him, but the fear she thought she'd buried made her panic. She packed her bag in silence, grabbed Katy's coat, and whispered, "We're leaving." But Katy shook her head fiercely. "I don't want to go," she said. "Mark loves us." Kyla froze. And then she saw him standing in the doorway, not angry, not demanding, just scared. Scared of losing them. "You don't owe me anything," he said softly. "But you and Katy, you've made this place feel alive again. I care about you. Both of you. Stay because you want to. Not because you feel like you have to." Kyla's eyes filled. No one had ever said that to her. No one had ever given her a choice without expecting something in return. Her bag slipped from her hand. Katy ran straight into Mark's arms. And Kyla realized, maybe for the first time, that love didn't always come with pain. After that night, everything changed. Kyla still moved carefully, still guarded her heart, but she no longer kept Mark at arm's length. She joined him and Katy in the garden. She let him teach her how to make his favorite stew. She started humming while she cleaned, something she hadn't done in years. Mark never pushed for more. But he showed up every day, with patience, with kindness, with quiet devotion. And one evening months later, as another storm rolled across the sky, Kyla reached for his hand on her own. Her fingers trembled, but she didn't pull away. "I'm glad we found you," she whispered. Mark squeezed her hand gently. "You didn't find me," he said. "We found each other." And from that night on, they weren't guests. They weren't housekeepers. They weren't temporary. They were a family, built slowly, gently, honestly. Family born from a storm. And healed by the calm that followed. Subscribe to the channel for more audio stories.